Chapter 146 Token Virtual Apps. Soon, all of Maximus' children received their own rewards. Sam and Luke received a whole collection of robots along with advanced facilities for modifying and creating them. For Serene, she received a little palace made of clouds. For Syra, it was also a little floating palace with a stellar theme. Although this might seem redundant as they already had a house. The little girls really liked having their own palace. For Neo, it was a small library without any specific topic. Apparently, Neo liked the atmosphere of the library as it provided him with the most optimal sleep. At night, the family gathered for dinner. "What are your plans for the vacation?" Maximus asked. "Students in the Lumina Chrysalis Guild have a month of vacation." "Just play at home?" Lily said. "It's boring. Why don't you take us out for a fight or something, Daddy?" Lila asked as she really enjoyed the feeling of fighting. "That's right, I still want to fight," Max agreed, expressing his desire to engage in combat. "We're okay at home," Sam said, still excited to play with their machines. "That's right, it's boring outside anyway," Luke agreed. Seeing that all of his children would like to stay at home except for Lila and Max. "Then you can stay at home," Maximus said. Oh, Max and Lila were a little disappointed but still agreed. "Don't worry, you can fight while you're at home. I'll activate the Virtual Worlds app in your tokens," Maximus said. Due to all the training, he had forgotten that his tokens had virtual world applications. "Is it possible to activate it when you're not an official student?" Isabella asked in surprise. The others were also surprised, unlike their husband, who didn't even bother to try these virtual worlds. They had heard a lot about them. For example, there was a virtual world where you could buy all known materials in the world at a very cheap price. Although they were virtual, you could still train yourself without wasting anything. It should be possible, right, Tintin? "Yes, host, but please don't abuse this function, otherwise, the Institute will issue you a punishment," Tintin reminded. According to its database, there was once a core student who had abused this function. He had conducted a private business, offering to open various functions to a seeker's token for money. Unfortunately, he was soon caught and heavily punished. Then activate all the permissions eligible for my family." "Yes, host, please wait. Finish eating first, and we can look at it later," he reminded his wives and children. After dinner, each of them went to their respective places and accessed their tokens for new functions. Maximus was also curious as he opened his. "Tintin, recommend me a few virtual worlds." "Right away, host." Virtual World. Ethereum Realm 2.0. Ancient Battlefield. Abyss Escape. World Trade Realm. World Myriad Trials. These are the top virtual worlds, host. Ethereum Realm 2.0?
What is that?
It's the exact replica of the Ethereum realm without any living beings. So it's just land and the chaotic sea?
Yes, host.
Then how did it reach the top of virtual worlds? It's because you can buy all the materials known to the Ethereum realm. It's also known as the testing ground. All the laws and rules of this virtual world are the same as reality. Oh, it's kind of interesting.
What about the others?
The ancient battlefield is the largest and most comprehensive battle venue in the token. The Abyss Escape is a simulation of the Abyss world to prepare for its invasion. World Trade Realm is the biggest trade world, where 99% of the Ethereum realm's merchants can trade.
Oh?
Why doesn't my shop in the Silver Leaf floating city have this? Are you talking about the Jewel Crown Pavilion, host?
Yes, that's the one,
Maximus nodded. He didn't need to hide this from Tintin, as she was bound to his soul. Anyway, those interested could see that he was the real owner after looking at the shop's bank transfers. However, the alchemist Edward and the source of the potion were hidden. So the possible exposure of the system was negligible. The only thing that didn't make much sense was why a Tier 6 alchemist worked for him. But with his status as a core student, everything made sense. Maybe Edward had noticed Maximus's talent and invested early on. Host, according to data, the shop alchemist personally declined the admission to the World Trade Realm. The reason is there is not enough stock of potions, Tintin said after some searching. Tintin had a huge amount of authority, so she could search these things arbitrarily. As long as they didn't infringe on anyone's interests, it was fine, otherwise, Maximus would be held accountable. Indeed, there is not enough potion, Maximus was speechless. There was indeed not enough potion, as Edward was the only capable fake alchemist. Looks like it's time to sell tier 6 potions, and there are also those wild alchemists, Maximus thought, planning to visit the shop when he had free time. Anyway, what about the world myriad trials? It's all the worlds saved and retained from all the official student trials that have happened since the beginning. That must mean there are countless worlds there? Yes, host. This got Maximus thinking about the wasteland world where he underwent his trial. By the way, how are these trial worlds generated? I heard that every official student trial needed a new world. That must be a lot of work. S-list, confidential information, please don't spread. Tintin's voice changed and became more solemn. What happened? Host, it's from the main core token. When I tried to access this information, it warned me, Tintin said with a pout. Can you do anything about this? Maximus grew worried. After all, there are many things Tintin will do in the future. If something can control it at any time, then it's not very safe. Don't worry, host. This is just some procedure, and I can cut the connection with it, nothing will happen. Is that so? Maximus just nodded but decided to keep an eye on Tintin. Anyway, to get the information you asked for, the host is required to give an oath not to tell this information to anybody. Alright, Maximus understood and gave an oath of confidentiality. Of course, it had a very hidden loophole that he could take advantage of whenever he wanted. This is what he learned when he mastered the oath knowledge to transcendent mastery. Done, tell me what this is about? First, the normal official student trial is just randomly generated by the main core token, which is not that important. However, the core student trial is a real world. Basically, you who are undergoing the trial are a soul projected by the main core token, that's why you die if you die in the trial. This dash. A real world? Does it mean that the Ethereum realm is capable of communicating with other dimensions? Maximus was shocked as he thought of various possibilities. By the way, Wanderer. Maximus muttered. Wanderer? Is that the artificial world you left in the trial world, host? Yes. Maximus sighed, thinking of the poor artificial intelligence he left in the trial. Don't worry too much, host. Without any real intelligence, that thing you created will be erased by time. Heh, you don't know how advanced the self-coding I created is, Maximus silently thought. Because he was always busy with things, he programmed Wanderer to upgrade itself. Although there might not be results in a short time, given enough resources and time, Wanderer's growth is almost limitless. By the way, how is the time dilation between that world and this? Is it still a year to a day? No, the previous trial was powered using this world's energy, so it could be sped up to that degree. Now that everything is back to normal, that world will only be 50 to 100 times faster than us. Is that so? Maximus thought that if he were strong enough and could travel through dimensions, he could visit that world and see what Wanderer was doing. In an unknown dimension, after an unknown time. Damn, these machine plagues are here to plunder our planet. Defenses. Our planet is losing all its resources. Sigh, when will this end? A group of soldiers and citizens from an unknown planet were talking as they witnessed mechanical machines raining down on their planet. They referred to this as the Doomsday Machine or Machine Plague. It started decades of years ago when an autonomous spaceship began stripping a planet of its resources without leaving anything. Now, that planet had regressed to a primitive state without any minerals and materials to create tools. All that remained were worthless plants, rocks, land, and water. Strangely enough, this autonomous spaceship didn't harm a single living being directly, though many had died due to misfires and retaliation by the planet's natives. Some more advanced civilizations had attempted to eradicate this autonomous spaceship. However, it appeared to possess the most advanced reconnaissance and anti-reconnaissance capabilities. Before anything could threaten it, it would escape without a trace. Wanderer, not enough. Fine, host. Chapter 147 Ancient Battlefield. You said that the special student trial is a real world. Can you elaborate on that? Does that mean the Ethereum realm can traverse other dimensions and collect resources? No, host, the Ethereum realm can barely interfere with other dimensions, let alone collect resources within them. Furthermore, you can't survive in the void without strength surpassing tier 9. But since you can send your soul, why can't you transport resources? Maximus asked. Although it has nothing to do with him, it's better to know more. Furthermore, with the Abyss realm fast approaching, he didn't know if the Ethereum realm could survive. The unique property of the soul makes it possible to travel through different dimensions. But even then, you need to transform the soul into its absolute state to be able to travel. If you want to collect resources from other dimensions, unless you have some special treasure surpassing the world, it's not possible, Tintin explained. This got Maximus thinking about his transmigration. Indeed, he was in an absolute soul state, so he was able to come here. But a special treasure surpassing the world? Isn't that just his system? That's fair enough. Maximus didn't dwell on the topic any longer. What virtual world do you think I should try first? You should try the ancient battlefield. Firstly, it can train your battle intelligence. Secondly, and most importantly, it can boost your strength without any complications. Boost strength? Isn't it just a virtual world? Maximus asked. It's like the virtual celestial ascent path when you first came here. Although the blessing to the soul is not comparable to the real thing, it's sufficient. Speaking of this, how is that possible if it's only a virtual world? It's because of the amazing rules of this world. Like the celestial ascent path. The creator of its virtual world managed to link it to the real thing, so it can have a slight effect of the real thing. As for the ancient battlefield, being one at the top means that it has something special. That is its link to the Ethereum realm world origin. Tintin explained excitedly. Ethereum realm world origin? This time Maximus was shocked. Ethereum realm world origin means the source of everything, the very mana, every law that regulates the world, every particle of the world. Without it, there wouldn't be an Ethereum realm. How is it possible that they were able to link a virtual world to the world origin? Wouldn't it be better to absorb it themselves? Maximus asked. It's because the world origin voluntarily connected to the virtual world. As for the cause, there are no definite studies yet. It may be because the Abyss realm is near that it felt treatment. Or it might be because it's helpful for the Ethereum realm's advancement. Anyway, the only thing known is that any created virtual world that is beneficial to the world has the possibility of having the world origin recognize it. Does that mean all the top have the world origin as their backing? Of course. Duh. Tintin rolled her eyes. The Ethereum Realm 2.0 can have all the materials with perfect rules because of the blessing of the world origin. Otherwise, who in the world has enough time and patience to study all material to perfection? After that, you still need to input it into the virtual world piece by piece. Even if this task is distributed and is done, it would still not be perfect, Tintin explained. The ancient battlefield, on the other hand, the winner receives a reward of pure energy suitable for mages and knights. The Abysscape also has rewards of pure energy. In the world trade realm, the world origin becomes the middleman mediating all of its transactions like contracts, authenticity, and delivery. Would that mean that anything you buy in it will be teleported directly to you? Otherwise? How can it become the biggest trading platform if it didn't even have this function? Tintin rolled her eyes. It seems that Tintin is becoming more humane but also more annoying. Anyway, the world myriad trials are only made possible with the world origin as an anchor point and power source. As for the other virtual worlds, the blessing is roughly the same, but it's not that strong.
So that's it.
Then let me get to this ancient battlefield, Maximus muttered as he tapped through the token. Let's see how my transcendent mastery and battle intelligence fares against others, Maximus thought. Ancient battlefield. Input nickname. Lord Grim. Maximus typed. Lord Grim was the battle god in his previous world, proficient in all weapons and techniques. Please select battle mode. Group battle, single battle. Single battle. Loading profile. Lord Grim unranked. Battles 0. Wins 0. Losses 0. TS nulles. Battle power unranked. Please test to determine rank and battle power. Confirm/decline. It seems simple, Maximus muttered, clicking confirm. Ancient battlefield, battle trial. So, my opponent starts from tier 1, Maximus muttered. He was also tiered down. Furthermore, he felt his soul amplitude and soul were brought down to the tier 1 limit, which is 10.
Round 1, fight begins.
Without waiting for his virtual opponent to get close, Maximus bombarded it with an over-the-limit tier 1 spell. Boom asterisk.
Basic. Round 2, fight begins.
Just like the previous one, he was tiered down to 2, with soul amplitude and will limit of 100. Without any effort, he blasted his virtual opponent into smithereens.
That's it?
Maximus smiled arrogantly. But suddenly he seemed to think of something.
Round 3, fight begins.
I'm doomed. He just remembered that the Tier 3 soul and mana amplitude limit is 1000. Meanwhile, he only had about 600 soul amplitude and less than 300 soul will. /*. A sword with a different magnitude of speed nearly slashed his head. If it were not for anticipating the movement of his virtual opponent, he would be gone by now.
Damn. Let's just fight and see where I rank.
Maximus gritted his teeth as he fought. Of course, he was barely dodging, as once he was hit, he was done for. Fortunately, it's a knight, so there are no large-scale spells, but the speed is insane. Due to his transcendent mastery towards many battle experiences, his battle intelligence is top-notch. With this, he was able to barely manipulate his virtual opponent to his bidding. Step by step, Maximus lured his opponent while placing a conjunction trap array. It seemed that Maximus was winning, but in reality, he was dancing on the edge of the devil's blade. One wrong move, and he would be finished. Fortunately, soul amplitude didn't directly enhance battle power to a horrifying degree. In battle, soul amplitude can multiply spells, skills, and mana recovery. Soul will, on the other hand, can multiply senses, brain capacity, and reaction time. With the difference in their tiers and without a weapon as an advantage, Maximus could only pray that his plan would work. As the seconds ticked by, the trap that Maximus had set up was finished.
Chance!
Maximus conjured a multi-layered conjoint spell and blasted it toward his opponent. Boom! Just as he was about to see what was happening, a sword flashed, severing his head. What Maximus didn't finish speaking as he returned to the interface stage. Ancient battlefield.
Cough. Cough.
It's not a good experience, Maximus coughed in discomfort. Besides not dying, everything in the virtual world is 100% real.
You're just too weak, host.
You only know how to bully the weak, Tintin mocked from the side.
TSK, that was some overpowered monster. I already did my best, how could it still survive?
Maximus got curious and clicked on the preview.
So that's it?
Maximus found the answer. His opponent was indeed trapped for a moment and was hit by his spell. But with overwhelming soul amplitude, the mana barrier that had propped up managed to nullify almost all of the damage. The result was that although the opponent was injured, it was not enough. Furthermore, to make the trap work and execute the finishing move, almost all his mana was depleted, giving him no time to react. TSK, what a cheater, Maximus muttered. By the way, the evaluation. Lord Grim, rank 3 iron. Battles 0. Wins 0. Losses 0.
Nulla. Battle power 8,329.
The ranks are bronze, copper, iron, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, legendary, and battle god. The rank merely indicates the highest tier he can compete in. If he likes, he can compete in rank 1 bronze, but the energy rewards are also comparable to tier 1.
Should I fight now?
You better fight quickly. So you can prove that you are indeed trash, Tintin mocked, eager to see Maximus being beaten.
Impossible.
The test trial opponent was simply a monster. The one I will match should also have the same battle power as me. Maximus was confident in beating anyone of the same strength. Let me start the first real fight. Chapter 148 Lack of Points. Ancient Battlefield, Iron Rank Division. Opponent match. 60 seconds before the fight. A stone dune. Maximus scanned the place, already formulating possible scenarios. I wonder if I can see the stats of the opponent, Maximus muttered, looking at his opponent on the opposite side. Suddenly a virtual screen pops up. Bengo, rank 3 iron. Battles, 1,232,573. Wins, 314,124. Losses, 729,937. Ties 188,512. Battle power, 8,329. A veteran? Seeing that his opponent had over 1,000,000 battles to his name, he became serious. As the seconds ticked by before the battle began, his opponent, Bengo, stepped forward. A rookie, huh? It's kind of impressive that you got here in your first fight. You must be from some powerful family, right? Hee, it would be my honor to teach you a lesson, Bengo said, talking endlessly as if his mouth were a machine gun. Did you get your wins by drowning your opponents in your nonsense? Maximus said, picking up a sword. In the preparation round, you can choose all kinds of weapons. There are also armors, robots, mechanical weapons, anything you can think of. However, it's all limited to the same tier as the match. TSK, such a sharp mouth for a newbie. Seeing that he couldn't provoke Maximus, Bengo didn't waste any more of his saliva.
Fight begins.
Bengo didn't speak any nonsense, he immediately attacked Maximus with a magic spell. Seeing that Maximus chose a sword as a weapon, Bengo hoped to kite Maximus. About an 800 mana amplitude, Maximus murmured as he calmly dodged the spell. There was only about a 200 mana amplitude difference between them, so he wasn't in a hurry. A few minutes passed by. As Maximus continued to dodge all around the place, Bengo became impatient. "What's wrong, newbie?
Is that all you can do?"
Maximus didn't reply but continued dodging. What Bengo didn't know was that all over the place were concealed delay spells. He had already learned this during a previous match. Sometimes, the difference in mana amplitude is like heaven and hell. Without sufficient firepower, all kinds of strategies are useless. Looking at the impatient Bengo, Maximus smiled. "What's wrong? I can still do this for a few hours." "Don't tell me you're already done," Maximus teased. "That won't work, newbie," Bengo sneered. In over 1,000,000 battles, what kind of opponent hadn't he faced? "A few more minutes." "Looks like your soul will isn't that strong," Maximus said mysteriously.
"What do you mean?"
Bengo shuddered as he felt like he was about to die.
"Goodbye."
Boom. The concealed delay spell formed an array, attacking the unprepared Bengo. If Bengo had a little more soul will, he would have detected the delayed spell long ago. Moreover, Bengo had underestimated him too much. Bengo had let him run around the place for a few minutes without becoming suspicious. I guess that's why his winning rate is less than half, Maximus thought. Victory. Ancient battlefield. Easy, Maximus bragged, looking at Tintin's disappointed face. "TSK, what a weakling," Tintin complained. "Ha ha ha, it should be beginner's luck." Maximus Shadowcrest, rank 3 iron. Battles, 1. Wins, 1. Losses, 0. TS nullis. Battle power, 8,330. Reward, 1-day energy equivalent.
"What does this mean?"
Maximus asked, looking at his reward. "It literally means that the world origin will give you energy according to your 1-day training," Tintin explained. "How about the resources and environment? Does it affect anything?" "No, this kind of energy is on par with the top elemental pool. So the only restriction is your aptitude." "So smart?" Maximus was amazed at such a convenient thing. You know, it only took a few minutes to earn this thing. 29 more fights, and he can master another elemental soul path. Don't be so excited, host. After you lose, you will get a cooldown before you can fight again. Oh, fair enough. But how long? It depends on what rank you lose at. For rank 3, there is a cooldown of 1 day.
That's enough.
Although he was not sure he would win every fight, he was still confident in his winning rate. Then another fight. 12 hours later. Maximus Shadowcrest, rank 3 iron. Battles, 345. Wins, 344. Losses, 1. TS nullis. Battle power, 8,673. Reward, 344-day energy equivalent. TSK, a pity. Looking at his winning streak, he sighed. Each match he won added points to his battle power stat, which meant that each match was stronger. But this is equivalent to over 11 months or 11 elemental soul paths. Maximus suddenly got excited. Maximus thought that he would get stuck in the tier 4 elemental mage for at least 100 years. But with plucking the wool of the world's origin, it's much easier. Let's convert the energy first, then wait for the cooldown. Maximus manner. Maximus slowly opened his eyes. Spreading his consciousness, he saw his wives and children still busy with their tokens. It looks like the virtual world is a little addicting. Thinking about it, if he hadn't lost, he would still be fighting right now. Shaking his head, his thought came back to absorbing the energy reward. First, upgrade affinity. The energy reward is equivalent to individual training, so if he had low talent, it would be useless. Potential points, 20,572,171. A little less. Upgrading affinity from legendary to transcendent required at least 11 million. Just upgrade to Divine, Maximus compromised. Metal Affinity, rank for Legendary, 0/100k. 1.1 million PP+. Metal Affinity, rank 6 Divine, 0/10m. After he upgraded his affinity to metal, he proceeded to use the reward. Soon, otherworldly energy descended into him. The energy was very pure and neutral, making it suitable for any element. Maximus began to manipulate this energy as he constructed the metal element soul path. 1 day of energy. 10 days of energy. 30 days of energy. 50 days of energy. 100 days of energy.
Huh.
Maximus opened his eyes, looking at the newly constructed soul path. It took 100 days. A pity. Maximus thought that he could master 11 new elemental soul paths today. But without enough potential points, he could only use 100 days worth of energy for one instead of 30. Next element. Wind Affinity, rank for Legendary, 0/100k. 1.1 million PP+. Wind Affinity, rank 6 Divine, 0/10m. Using the 100 days worth of energy, he was able to construct the Wind Elemental Soul Path. Ice Affinity, rank for Legendary, 0/150k. 1.65 million PP+. Ice Affinity, rank 6 Divine, 0/15m. 1 day of energy. 10 days of energy. 70 days of energy. Huh, only 70? Maximus muttered, feeling the ice elemental being constructed using only 70 days worth of energy. It should be because I already have the water element. Then can I master another element? Maximus thought as he still had 74 days worth of energy. Maximus already had the fire and earth elements. So he wanted to try how much it would take to master the lava element. Lava Affinity, rank for Legendary, 0/200k. 2.2 million PP+. Lava Affinity, rank 6 Divine, 0/20m. Soon, 60 days worth of energy was consumed as he constructed the lava elemental soul path. Nice, another element, Maximus smiled. Now he only needed to fight a few more times to accumulate energy reward. But it seems to be short in potential points again. Maximus couldn't help but sigh at this problem. It's always short, halting his progress. Just fight more, Maximus got determined. Although he can't do anything about the potential points, he can accumulate more energy through grinding. It's just that I'm too weak. Maximus Shadowcrest. Soul Tier 4 Elemental Mage LVL1. Body Tier 4 Sky Knight LVL9. Soul Amplitude 605. Soul Will 281. Life Points 16,517,110. Potential Points 14,522,171. Magic Crystal Points 3,125,934,234. I'm about to become a Tier 5 Lunar Knight. But it's still useless. In the ancient battlefield, your tier will be forcefully tiered down to match the rank division. To upgrade soul aptitude, I need to study. But what to learn? I should go back to my plan earlier. In the beginning, Maximus was full of ambition, hoping to fully master and be able to create all elements. However, due to the lack of life points, he shelved that idea. Now he didn't have much use for the life points and needed to upgrade his soul amplitude. Just right. 1,118 types of Tier 0 spells, initial 5 million/112 million. It seems that the other spells I mastered didn't add up, Maximus wondered. Maximus manipulated the system to see what happened. After a while, he found the answer. I see. The previously mastered spell did add up, but it added in each individual mastery. By the way, the Arcana library seems to boost my comprehension when I add points. He remembered that when he added life points to his cultivation manual, the points he got were double than normal. Just right, I also need to get the complete Gaia's Primal Genesis manual. Chapter 149 Mastering All Elements spell. In the Arcana library, on the 10th floor. The top floor is in another dimension. I feel that my comprehension is at least 10 times better. Maximus commented as he observed the surroundings. Arcana library isn't considered a world wonder for nothing, Tintin said. Could it also be influenced by the Ethereum realm world origin? Yes, as the gathering place for almost all the knowledge of the world, it was also blessed with the world origin. Each corresponding floor can multiply your comprehension as long as you're in it. It's really amazing. The price to enter is also astounding. Although he was free to enter, for others to come to the top floor, they needed 100 billion low magic crystals per day. Are the books here different from the lower floors? The books on the 10th floor are a collection of books from the 1st to the 9th floor. However, what's different is that each book has its own world. Own world? That's right, although it's only an illusion. That's enough. Maximus didn't bother and found a place to sit. Maximus Shadowcrest. Soul Tier 4 Elemental Mage LVL 1. Body Tier 4 Sky Knight LVL 9. Soul Amplitude 605. Soul Will 281. Life Points 16,517,110. Potential Points 14,522,171. Magic Crystal Points 6,125,934,234. Looking at his panel, he thought of first upgrading his affinity. After all, his affinity to most elements is trash, only his most used element has at least a legendary rank. 1118 Element Affinity, trash 260/100k. Osuta Kepepe. 1118 Element Affinity, common 260/1 million. 1 million pp plus. 1118 Element Affinity, uncommon 28 260/10 million. 10 million pp plus. 1118 Element Affinity, rare 288 260/100 million. Only rare affinity. It should be enough. After he was done upgrading his affinity, he returned to mastering the spells. 1118 types of Tier 0 spells, initial 5 million/112 million. Let's see how much one life point is, Maximus thought as he tried to add one. 1 LP equals 10,000. 1118 types of Tier 0 spells, initial 5.001 million/112 million. Only 10,000? Maximus sighed. But thinking about it, initially when he used life points to master spells, it was only equivalent to 1 mastery point. Let's begin. Without hesitation, he added life points. 167,500 LP plus. 1118 types of Tier 0 spells, Transcendent Max. A rush of knowledge came through his mind, detailing the very origins of all 1118 element Tier 0 spells. Comfortable, Maximus muttered. The feeling of controlling every part of the element in the world, as if it were your second nature, was an otherworldly experience. Although it was only Tier 0, he felt that everything in his perspective was different. What's wrong, host? Tintin suddenly noticed Maximus's change, as if everything in his eyes had become scalable. Nothing, Maximus said. But as he looked at Tintin, Maximus could perceive something without relying on the system. Truly amazing. Soon he opened his panel to see how many points had been added to his soul aptitude. Soul amplitude, 614. Only 9? Maximus still didn't understand the mechanism of soul amplitude. He only knew that the longer and the more he studied, the more points it would add. Let's add more points, Maximus proceeded with his next plan. Without the subsequent spell knowledge, he still needed to buy it in the system. But before that, he stood up to look through the spell knowledge in the Arcana library. Tintin, can I have permission to do a quick scan of the books here? Maximus asked. It's only for Tier 0 to 6, there's a restriction for Tier 7 and above. Can you remove it? What do you know? Tintin rolled her eyes, annoyed by Maximus's lack of knowledge. From Tier 7 and above, transferring knowledge isn't just writing it in a book. Each of them is carved using a rune system with the soul signature of the creator. Just scanning it with consciousness won't work. You need to read it one by one, resonating it with your own soul signature, Tintin explained. Oh? Maximus was a little embarrassed due to his lack of knowledge. He thought the restriction was some kind of formation to prevent it from being stolen. Maximus also checked through the system to see if it was different. But to his disappointment, it was all the same. It seems that I can't take shortcuts, Maximus sighed. Then, can you get me all the spell books from Tier 1 to 6? With his status, all knowledge in the Arcana library was open to him. If it weren't for this, he wouldn't be so unscrupulous. What element? All of them. Are you crazy? What are you going to do with them? To study, of course. TSK, what an ambitious host. Tintin didn't bother to remind her thick-headed host anymore. Using her authority, books all over the 10th floor floated toward Maximus like a tide.
What happened?
TSK, another greedy junior. Another one of those lunatics, huh? A group of individuals muttered, seeing a sea of books floating in one direction. After a glance of attention, they continued to study. These are all the spell books you want. Maximus began to scan all the spell books with his consciousness. 1,118 types of Tier 1 to 6 spells, initial 17, 134/9.7 trillion.
So much.
Maximus was a little overwhelmed by the amount of points he needed. Plus, this is not yet complete, as other spells only have hundreds of them, not enough to completely study the origin of that spell. It's time to buy from the system. Maximus tapped on the World Myriad Mall and found the shop where he had bought the spell knowledge earlier.
Hexen Library.
Fire Spell Volume. Earth Spells Volume. Water Spells Volume. Space Spells Volume. Time Spells Volume. Light Spells Volume. System, scan all the non-repeated spells from Tier 1 to 6, Maximus commanded. Soon the system sifted through the shop, presenting him with hundreds of billions of books. 2,895,372,593 low magic crystals. Buy/decline? Buy, a Maximus click without hesitation. His income was already close to 2 billion low magic crystals per month, so it wasn't a concern for him. Looking at the books that had nearly formed a continent by itself in the system's storage, Maximus sighed at the vastness of knowledge. The Tier 1 to 6 books in the Arcana library were compact and could merge if they contained progressive information, so they didn't bring much shock. But the books from the system were separated, numbering in the hundreds of billions. It looks like it will take a long time. Even with the use of his consciousness, it's not something that can be done in a short while. A day later, Maximus opened his eyes. It's not easy, Maximus thought, exhausted. If it were not for the blessing of the Arcana library eliminating his fatigue, it would have taken him much longer to scan the spell books he bought. 1,118 types of Tier 1 to 6 spells, initial 17, 134/38.6 trillion. I wonder when I will finish mastering all of this. First, he had the system divide the spells by tier. 1,118 types of Tier 1 spells, initial 163/3.4 billion. 1,118 types of Tier 2 spells, initial 2, 353/24 billion. 1,118 types of Tier 3 spells, initial 14, 618/165 billion. Tier 1 first. Maximus thought and added life points. 5,160,000 life points. 1,118 types of Tier 1 spells, Transcendent, Max. Maximus's bearing became more solemn as his control over all elements strengthened. Is there really nothing happening to you, host? Tintin asked. His host was really weird. Just opening and closing his eyes made him become more and more different. Although she was not sure, Tintin felt Maximus had become stronger. Nothing. Maximus just smiled and continued to upgrade. Next tier. 1,118 types of Tier 2 spells, initial 2, 353/24 billion. 11,285,609 LP plus, adding all his points, Maximus felt some heartache. Soon, knowledge came like a torrent, smashing his reluctance. 1,118 types of Tier 2 spells, expert 40, 856, 092, 353/72 billion. Satisfied, he looked at his panel. Maximus Shadowcrest. Soul Tier 4 Elemental Mage LVL1. Body Tier 4 Sky Knight LVL9. Soul Amplitude 1522. Soul Will 281. Life Points 0. Potential Points 3,622,171. Magic Crystal Points 3,230,561,641. Finally past the 1,000 mark, Maximus thought in excitement as he looked at his soul amplitude. You know, in the ancient battlefield, he only had 8,673 battle power. If each fight added 1 point to his battle power, that meant he could fight and win 1,327 matches before proceeding to the silver rank. The reward is equal to at least 13 new elemental soul paths. I only hope there is no cheating mechanism. Maximus sighed. Right, I should get the entire book of Gaia's primal genesis, Maximus thought and informed Tintin. All right, Tintin lazily answered and got him the book. Here, Tintin said, coming back to the token. It's a little different, Maximus muttered, looking at the book. Opening it, he couldn't understand a word even with his rune system knowledge. It seemed that all the words were garbled, without any context. Just match the soul signature frequency. Maximus thought of Tintin's advice. I can understand it now. However, I should fight first, Maximus decided, seeing the cooldown in the Battle of Ancient had ended. Chapter 150 A Billion Population. 2 weeks later. Maximus took a break from the ancient battlefield. During these 2 weeks, he was either fighting or on his way to battle. With the significant increase in his soul amplitude, he had never experienced a loss, so there wasn't any cooldown. Now, as he looked at his winning streak, he couldn't help but smile. Maximus Shadowcrest, rank 4 silver. Battles, 2,351. Wins, 2,350. Losses, 1. Ties nullis. Battle power, 10,689. Reward, 8,231 day energy equivalent. So much energy. After reaching silver rank, the reward was equivalent to 10 days worth of energy. Now, with this amount of energy, he could master at least 82 new elemental soul paths. I wish. Maximus sighed. Now, he had all the energy he needed but not enough potential points. While he was deep in thought, resting before the next battle, something suddenly descended upon him. What happened? Maximus was shocked as he tried to block the unknown energy that descended upon him. Host? Tintin was also shocked. The protective barrier that came with the token didn't even block their strange energy. That could only mean 2 things, it was either unfathomable or beneficial. Maximus didn't bother Tintin as he had the system scan the energy. Scanning. Analyzing. Detected a heterogeneous mixture of will energy. Warning, excessive consumption of such energy will corrode the host's consciousness, turning them into a puppet of the heterogeneous will. This? Maximus was puzzled. What happened? While he was shocked and contemplating what to do with such a harmful mass of energy, his token vibrated. Doran? Maximus muttered. Doran, your majesty, something has happened in the Empire. Maximus, what happened? Doran, based on the information I've read about the era of imperial domination. Doran, the phenomenon occurring in the Empire right now is called amalgamation of will. Doran, I'm just not sure if it really is. Maximus, all right, I'll come right away. Tintin, who was in a panic, also calmed down after reading the message. Your subordinate's guess should be correct, Tintin said. Do you know what it is? This kind of amalgamation of will is equivalent to the world's origin. They both can strengthen the host tier quickly, Tintin explained. However, because this kind of energy comes from the condensation of the will of the people, it's a little weaker than world's origin energy. Is that it? Is there no danger to using this energy? Maximus asked. Oh, because it's energy from the will of a massive number of individuals, excessive use of it can influence your soul. However, with host tier, there is no need to worry. Even if you absorb this kind of energy until you reach tier 7 or 8 there is no problem, Tintin explained. Maximus just nodded. As for using such energy to strengthen his tier? He never considered that. Just its influence on his soul was already a deal-breaker for him. Moreover, since there was already a world's origin open to him, why use such inconvenient energy? Let's go to the Empire first. In Moonshadow City at the teleportation array. Your Majesty, you're here. Doran and other officials greeted. At ease. Let's go to the castle first. As they were heading back, Maximus took his time to observe his territory. Besides the usual prosperity, there was also an increase in population. Usually, there was almost no crowding phenomenon in his empire. But now, looking at Moonshadow City, the population has almost tripled compared to before. Furthermore, he observed that the amalgamation of will was gradually being absorbed by the citizens. It seemed to be enhancing their talents, strengths, and various abilities. Soon, they arrived at the castle. You may begin, Maximus said, allowing them to speak. Your Majesty, while you were away, we conducted an investigation into why the amalgamation of will occurred, Doran began. Based on history, the amalgamation of will only occurs when something significant happens within the empire. First, there's the qualitative improvement of strength of the empire inhabitants. Second, the expansion of territory. Third, the expansion of the population. Fourth, conquering an empire. These are a few of the reasons for the appearance of will amalgamation. Doran paused, waiting for His Majesty to absorb the information.
Continue.
Based on this, we were able to quickly investigate what changed within the empire. Just about 2 weeks ago, the Star Sea traders transported more than 100 million people into the empire. After 2 weeks of incorporating these people, the amalgamation of will suddenly appeared.
What is the total population now?
Maximus suddenly asked. Now Maximus barely manages his empire. For the order and development of the empire, millions of officials were hired every month. There were also his guild members diligently completing missions to develop the empire's infrastructure. He only visited once a month to convert the empire's virtual currency into system points. By now, according to the census, it's 1,002,382, Doran said.
A billion?
Maximus was a little shocked. In just a few months, the population had doubled. Although it seemed small compared to the world's population, which was in the billions of trillions. But being an emperor over a billion people was a little overwhelming. Good work. Tell Cedric to double his efforts. I'm willing to pay double the previous amount if he manages to reach 200 million every month. Triple the price if he reaches 300 every month. You get the gist of it. I'm even willing to pay 10 times the amount if he reaches 1 billion people every month, Maximus told Doran. As ordered, Your Majesty. Doran, who was stingy with money, resolutely stated. Although it would undoubtedly cost a lot of money, they were not short of it. Furthermore, Doran already felt the benefits of the amalgamation of will. With this kind of energy, in just a few years, Doran was sure to reach Tier 4, extending his life to 1,000 years. Soon, all the officials briefly reported what was happening in the empire. From major things to minor things, it took a whole day to finish. In the city of Arcana, at Maximus Manor. Maximus returned home after finishing his business in the empire. Although the amalgamation of will had caused a little stir, it had also brought enormous benefits. Looking at the amalgamation of will's energy in his consciousness, Maximus manipulated the system to see what it could do. He didn't want such weird energy to pollute his soul. Who knows if there is any trap in it? Detected energy, whether to absorb?
Huh? It can really absorb energy.
Maximus became excited. He figured that since the system could absorb time energy and potential energy, it should be able to absorb other kinds of energy. Initially, he tried all kinds of energy, mana, magic crystals, and various processed energies. Unfortunately, nothing worked, so he gave up. Now, seeing that it could absorb this amalgamation of will, he became excited. Does that mean it can only absorb high-end energy? Maximus also tried to see if World Origin's energy could be absorbed. Detected energy, whether to absorb? It's really possible. Maximus smiled wildly. This meant that he would have another source of system points from now on. Convert the amalgamation of will first, Maximus muttered. Whether to convert to life points / potential points? Maximus tapped potential points as he was short of them. Plus 1 million potential points.
So much.
Seeing the massive amount of potential points, he couldn't help but smile. Furthermore, he felt the amalgamation of will was coming at a constant rate. Which meant that tomorrow he'd have another million points. TSK, it's really worth it to set up an empire. Originally, Maximus had set up his empire to get and nurture money so he could convert it to system currency. Now, there was another benefit, system points. Let's upgrade first to celebrate. Maximus Shadowcrest. Soul Tier 4, Elemental Mage, Level 1. Body Tier 4, Sky Knight, Level 9. Soul Amplitude, 1522. Soul Will, 281. Life Points, 1,440,000. Potential Points, 7,722,331. Magic Crystal Points, 230,561,641. These 2 weeks he didn't spend points, he was accumulating them. Now, with enough points and world energy, he could start to upgrade again. Gold Affinity, Legendary 0/150k. Plus 1.65 million. Gold Affinity, Divine 0/15 million. Iron Affinity, Divine 0/15 million. Bronze Affinity, Divine 0/15 million. Silver Affinity, Divine 0/15 million. Seeing that there were not enough potential points, Maximus began consuming the world Origin's energy to condense an elemental soul path. First, the golden elemental soul path. Because it's part of the metal element, he only consumed 70 days worth of energy. Next, the iron elemental soul path. The bronze elemental soul path. The silver elemental soul path.
Huh.
It's really satisfying to progress at lightning speed, Maximus muttered. Based on his progress and the generation of potential points, Maximus only needed a maximum of 5 years to condense all elemental soul paths and advance to Tier 5. Now, let's fight again. Satisfied, he began to grind in the ancient battlefield once again.